fourth day for Bhagavad Gita study course. 3 days we have covered. In 3 days we have only covered just 4 chapters. So I need to pace up a little bit. And if you have Bhagavad Gita book, it will be very little easy for you to connect from where I am connecting which dots to where. If you don't have the book, then you can follow the PPT and try to understand, like in between we are taking some verses and how the topics are getting changed after every time, after some time, like, and how these different chapters are linked in Bhagavad Gita. Basically, when someone says Bhagavad Gita, so then from WhatsApp or different kind of chat messages, people generally know two things: just perform your duty and don't think about any result. And क्या लेकर आए थे, क्या लेकर जाओगे, और क्या बोलते हैं, अ, तुम वही करो जो कृष्ण चाहते हैं, फिर वही होगा जो तुम चाहोगे. Different things are there like that. Anyway, what exactly Bhagavad Gita talks about is entirely totally different. So we are beginning this chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. Small prayer will do. Om Jnanati Miranmasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurandritam Vinasmaya Shri Guru Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Gopala Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namo Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Chaya Nirvishesha Srimadi Prashyati Deshakari Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gita Gadadhar Shri Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. So this chapter 5 talks about how we should act in Krishna consciousness after getting the transcendental knowledge. So we'll move on to the next slide. Yes, so whosoever is sharing the screen. Few things we have discussed till now, till chapter 4, that we are not the doer, we are neutral person. We means the soul. The soul is not the doer of any activity. So whatever activity if we are performing, being in the body, we should perform in Krishna consciousness. So now Arjuna is asking some question, that which is better, sannyas or karma yoga. Krishna recommends that spirit of renunciation involved, that is karma sannyas, sannyas in karma, but not renunciation of work. Sannyas in karma is recommended, but sannyas of karma is not recommended. That means being detached while performing any activity is recommended, but being detached from that work only, that is not recommended. So that's how this difference of Bhagavad Gita, the understanding of Bhagavad Gita is there. Why Bhagavad Gita becomes a book which is for everyone? Because it doesn't say that you leave everything, you leave all your work. What Bhagavad Gita is talking, that whatever things you think you are doing, in that you should act like a sannyasi, means a detached person, means a detached worker. For example, a person who is counting money in the bank, कैशियर होता है ना, कैशियर पैसे गिनता है बैंक में. So when he counts the money, he doesn't think that this is my money. While counting the money, he is renounced from inside. Although that is not called renounced, but he is acting like a renounced person. Thus, karma is superior to jnana. That's why the action is superior to jnana. Only knowledge is not recommended. Performing action in knowledge is recommended. You should not sit idle. and since I'm doing spirituality, so I'm not going to do anything. This is bogus thing. Those who say that कुछ मत करो, बैठे रहो, सब छोड़ दिया, and many people they ask also, आप लोग सब छोड़ देते हैं क्या? They ask us, अरे आप लोग ने घर छोड़ दिया, ये छोड़ दिया, आप सब कुछ छोड़ दिए, संसार छोड़ दिए हैं क्या? So this is foolish question. संसार छोड़ दिए, अरे संसार में ही रह रहे हैं भाई. So we cannot leave anything. कुछ भी है नहीं हमारा तो हम छोड़ कैसे सकते हैं, right? There is nothing which belongs to me. Me means the soul. What is there which belongs to the soul? Nothing. So if I cannot possess anything. So how can I live anything? So that's why this renunciation is bogus idea. Renunciation of anything is bogus idea. Whereas spirit of renunciation while performing any activity, that is recommended. That is recommended in Bhagavad Gita. And that's what Lord Krishna is trying to teach Arjuna. Actually, he's trying to give the answer for Arjuna's doubts. Arjuna's doubts were that what will happen if I'll commit all these activities, then maybe I'll incur sin. So the sin and piety, पाप और पुण्य की जब बात करते हैं, so Krishna is trying to remind Arjuna that you should not perform activity for पाप and punya. You should just perform the activity for the sake of duty, and that's how you are detached from the result of the action. I hope you all be understanding the thing. That's how this performing Nishkam Karma Yoga comes. That frees one from bondage. Bondage of what? Bondage of action. Whenever we perform any action, there is some result, either papa or punya. So if we perform any action without getting attached to the fruits of that action, then we get free from that bondage. For example, suppose you are doing anything and you are thinking of the result. जब हम लोग रिजल्ट के बारे में सोचते हैं तो रिजल्ट अच्छा आएगा या बुरा आएगा, we start thinking about it. So what happens? जब हम अच्छा और बुरा के बारे में सोचने लगते हैं कि रिजल्ट अच्छा है या बुरा आएगा, we get entangled. Entangled towards what? Entangled towards the result of the action. We start thinking and we start contemplating कि मुझे खुशी मिलेगी कि दुख मिलेगा. That is what the entanglement is. If we do not think about any result after performing the duty, we are simply doing our duty. We are not thinking of the result. So if we are not thinking of the result, so then what happens? Then we are not thinking, we are not getting bondage with this happiness and sorrow, this cycle. So in that way, we get free from this bondage. Never entangled. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vigyat vigyatma jitendriya sarvabhutatma bhutatma kurvanna apina lipyati. So having said that the karma yogi is not the doer of action, yet does action. Krishna will now explain that such a yogi acts for the sake of the Supreme Lord. Just for the sake of Supreme Lord, he is performing the action. It's very simple. Suppose parents say us something to do. बेटा तुमको ये काम करना चाहिए. Go to market and bring something like this. So for the sake of them, for their sake, we are performing this activity. I don't want to go to market. I don't require that thing. This is simply the requirement of my parents. So they have ordered. So simply because they have said, I'm just performing the activity for the sake of parents. Similarly, for the sake of Supreme Lord, that such a yogi, a devotee of the Lord, always acts. for the sake of the Supreme Lord. How he will act, that all these things will come down. Next verse, 5.10, fifth chapter. A very beautiful example has been given here. What is said there here? The term is used as Padma Patra Ivambhasa. You can go to the next slide. ब्रह्मण्याधाय कर्माणि संगम त्यक्त्वा करोति लिप्यते न सुपापेन पद्मपत्रमिवाम्भसा. The example is given of a lotus petal, or you can say the leaf of the lotus. Padmapatramivamsa. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the result to the Supreme Lord, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. So you know this, the science behind this, that how water doesn't touch the leaf. Similarly, the water always stays there in the lotus leaf. In fact, the lotus stays in the water, but then they never touch each. There is a membrane or whatever we say in science. We read uh, some waxing is there, wax. The cover of wax is there outside this lotus leaf. That's why the water doesn't touch it. Water cannot touch it. Whatever it is, the example is given that similarly, we are living in this world. We are performing our duty in different ways. Whatever things are going on, if that is achieved in our surrounding, that I am not getting affected with all such things, so then that is called this example. For them, he is performing his duty without attachment. So that we have to take this consideration. That is how we should live in this world without getting affected to any of the comments or incidents or whatever things. And in fact, we should not be touched with this material nature also. As like the soul. The soul is never touched by this material nature. But what happens is that the soul thinks that I am the body and then he starts behaving like that. So the topic was going on that how we should be dependent on Krishna, how we should act here in this world, how we should act according to in this world with others. So how we should act, although you are living in between them with everyone, but we are not attached, we are not affected by those comments, by their behavior, by their interference. So a devotee lives in that. A devotee lives in a way that he doesn't get affected, but he affects others. Okay, next slide. And I think if you have any question, you can raise or you can put your questions in between also, because at the end you might be forgetting things. Platform of knowledge, three doers, knowing the three doers. There are three doers of any activity. Oh, we are just thinking that I am not the doer. Then here this is has been said that knowing there are three doers. Role of the soul, initiator. Role of material nature, facilitator. Role of the Lord, sanctioner. So the soul, what is its role? What is the role of soul? It is initiator. What it initiates? It initiates the cycle of birth and death. The soul only initiates that yes, I want to enjoy in the material world apart from Krishna. So the soul initiates the work, the action. The action is performed under the influence of material nature. And the third doer is the Lord Himself, who gives sanction. In chapter 13, this will come, chapter 13, verse number 22, I guess, that Udrashtanumanta cha bhakta bhokcha maheswara Paramatmeti chapyutto dehismin purushapa. In this body, there are unlimited souls are there. In fact, you yourself have so many souls with you. But there is only one soul which is active, that is me. And this soul, with the help of super soul, is trying to control the body. So sometimes it happens, Drashtanumanta as we discussed. So sometimes it happens that the super soul that gives permission to whatever activity the soul wants to do. Second thing, Updrashta Anumanta, it gives permission also, and then it oversees everything. The Paramatma oversees everything. He is overseeing the activity of the soul, what this soul is doing, getting influence in the material nature. So ignorance bewilders, nadatte kasyachit papam, na chaiva sukritam vibhu, agyane navritam jnana, tena muhyati jantava. So the ignorance, that is the jnana, that causes bewilderment. In Sanskrit, there are different terms. Are there? In Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that there are five klesha which starts our which makes us bewildered, which makes us degraded. The first is avidya. Avidya is the knowledge is lost. Now the person is thinking, I'm not the soul, I'm body. The second aspect is asmita. When there is avidya, when there is no knowledge, knowledge is lost. So the identity gets changed. We misidentify ourselves. Yesterday I was trying to explain how we misidentify ourselves and then start behaving differently. कई बार लोग बोलते हैं कि आपने सुना होगा, कई बार लोग बोलते हैं कि किसी व्यक्ति में भूत घुस गई। भूत कैसे घुसता है, भूत क्या होता है? सो द पर्सन does not identify himself as himself. He starts identify as himself as something else, someone else. तो किसी और की आत्मा उसमें घुस गई है। अभी वो अपने आप को, तुम कौन हो? मैं भूत हूँ। तो ही इज स्पीकिंग लाइक, because he is speaking as if he is someone else. That is called that he is possessed by ghost, possessed by spirit. भूत ने उसको पकड़ लिया। That is called asmita, forgetting our identity. When we forget our identity, then what we do? First is we don't have knowledge, again. Then we forget our identity, asmita. Then after forgetting our identity, what we do? We try to impose some other identity on us. That is called abhinivesh. And when we impose some other identity on ourselves, then what happens? We start behaving in a way that we are attached to someone and we are detached to someone. Rag and dvesh. अविद्या, अस्मिता, अभिनिवेश, राग और द्वेष। तो ये पांच पंच क्लेश कहलाते हैं। दिस ऑल स्टार्ट्स विथ ignorance. Okay, next. Bhagavad Gita, this 18 to 22 verses of chapter 5 talks about result of properly knowing Krishna's appearance. What things are there in that? Equal vision should be there. A person who is at the right platform, at the platform of knowledge, at the platform of Krishna consciousness, he has equal vision for every living entity. Shuni Cheva Swapakichas Pandita Samadarshi. Those who do not distinguish between a Brahmana, between a cow, and the person who eats dog, such kind of person. तो जो चांडाल में, ब्राह्मण में, विद्वान व्यक्ति में, पशुओं में किसी प्रकार का कोई भेद नहीं देखता, तो ऐसा व्यक्ति ब्रह्म के स्तर, ब्रह्मन प्लेट। is called self-realized. So that is the goal of life, to become like that. Equal vision should be there. Brahman platform conquer the birth and death. There's another verse in that, in the same verse. Brahman platform conquer birth and death. When we are situated at the platform of ब्रह्म, जब हम ब्रह्म के स्तर पे आ जाते हैं तो जन्म और मृत्यु से बच जाते हैं, क्योंकि जन्म मृत्यु तो शरीर का है ना। अब जब हम शरीर ही नहीं मान रहे अपने आप को, हम ये अनुभव कर चुके हैं कि मैं आत्मा हूँ, तो मुझे किसी प्रकार का वहां पर जन्म और मृत्यु से घबराने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, मैं बचा हुआ हूँ। तो सिम्टम क्या क्या होते हैं, सिम्टम उसके लक्षण क्या होते हैं? डिटैचमेंट फ्रॉम एक्सटर्नल प्लेजर एंड फोकसिंग टुवर्ड्स द requirements, focusing towards requires an understanding that material enjoyment is insubstantial and foolish. Ultimately, people who are working outside, they someday or another they realize that what for what whom am I doing all such things? Why am I working hard for whom? So he's working like foolish animal who is not able to think that why I am performing all these activities with so much hard labor. Although the symptom is given as detachment from external pleasure and focusing inwards. So that is symptom of a self-realized person, Atma Sakshatkar Vyakti. Then sense enjoyment is ultimately distressful. In beginning, the sense enjoyment may start feeling like, oh, very nice, but then it becomes ultimately disrespect. Sorry, distressful. Distressful means it will give you misery. It will give you pain. Suppose I'll give you an example. You like to eat something, so you start eating, and that is your sense enjoyment. So you keep on eating. What will happen after some time? You will start having stomach pain. So that is distressful. Sense enjoyment is ultimately distressful. Any example you give me that is sense enjoyment, then that turns into distressful. कि यही संस्पर्श जाब होगा दुख ये नहीं होते. This world is designed in such a way that whatever you try to enjoy, that will be uh, that will again and again that will cause misery only somehow or another. And you can think of some examples also. Next. So Krishna advises to tolerate the urges. There are different urges are there, especially six urges are there. Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jivha vegam vegam etan vegane vishe hetu dhira sarvam apimam prithvim sashishya. Krishna advises to tolerate the urges. The urges of life are like itching. How many of you have faced the itching problem? Itching, rashes, skin itching. How many of you have faced this problem? Itching problem? Nobody. Just one. Okay. Maybe others don't want to share. Thank you, Kumar. So, what happens that if somebody is having itching and he starts scratching that point, he try to scratch the itching that place. So, what will happen? He will get instant pleasure, right? When you have somewhere itching and then you start rubbing that, or when you scratch that, so you will feel happiness. You'll feel happy. But then what happens? If you scratch more and more, the this the problem will become more and more. If once we start itching it, then the wound becomes bigger and bigger, and this that itching that also becomes more and more. That happens more often. So in first place, only if we have stopped the thing, so then if it first place only if we do not scratch it, so what happens that at that point only we try to tolerate it. Krishna will say that try to tolerate the thing. Tolerate agitations till the end of life. Tolerating agitations and retiring from external engagements that give superficial happiness are possible when one has a higher taste or religious happiness within. If you have a higher taste, you will easily control the lower taste. Suppose if you don't have higher taste, then you have to tolerate for that itching of the lower taste. When there is itching in the body, you have to tolerate. If you won't tolerate, the itching will grow and grow. Hmm. So these urges are meant to be tolerated. Okay. Next, directly then we jump between this 26, 29. If you go on tolerating, then what happens? If you go on tolerating for all these urges, then slowly, we start focusing our focus, which is there everywhere, like for towards all parts. So when we start tolerating the thing, so we focus towards only one place, one point focus, and that is towards the super soul. So one can attain liberation soon by Kama Krodha Vimuktanam Yatinam Yatachetasam Abhito Brahma Nirvanam Vartate Viditatmanam. So this kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, and so many negative qualities, which we can see, we can here read from the example of Ravana, how he has 10 heads, and all these 10 heads have different negative qualities. So if we have such kind of things, so we should tolerate first, and we should also act in Krishna consciousness. So we should tolerate all these urges, trying to chant the holy name of Lord, and in that way we can control these urges. Then the peace formula comes from Krishna. Krishna knows this thing. Krishna is giving us the peace formula for everyone. In Bhagavad Gita this is given. What is peace formula? He says that Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suridam sarvabhutanam gyatva mam shanti vichya. How you can attain peacefulness? Well, by thinking or by understanding three things. First thing is Bhoktaram yagya tapasam. Then he is the enjoyer of everything, all kind of Bhoktaram yagya, whatever kind of yagya or austerity or penances, whatever you perform. So in fact, in our hometown, the mothers they perform many kind of different austerities. So these all austerities are actually meant to satisfy whom? To Krishna, because he is saying that I am the enjoyer of everything. Then it is said he is saying Sarva Loka Maheshwaram, that he is the controller of all the planets, everything, all these gods, demigods, everything. So he is the one controller, supreme controller, Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Then the third point is Suridam Sarvabhutana. I'm the only benefactor or well-wisher of well-wisher, you can say. So, who is our most benefactor and well-wisher? That is Super Soul, that is Paramatma, that is Krishna. Because he is the one who stays every time with us. Every time with us, others they just leave, they sometime here and there they go, come. But then uh, Krishna remains with us always. So, by knowing these three things, just a second. By knowing these three things, one can attain peace. And there is one very beautiful organization we should know, and you all know, that is United Nations, trying to actually divide the nation. United Nation is trying to do what? Uh, the concept is the concept was to unite all these nations so that there should be peace. And they have a firm also. They have a, you can say, they have one activity where they do, or all the countries they have the peace meeting or something like that. But what is happening that they are actually dividing nations. Nowadays, so many fights are going on. But then we don't see any interference of United Nations in this. So what to tell this uh, the peace formula actually coming from the person who has created this world, and that peace formula is actually applicable. When you see that you are not the enjoyer, when Krishna is enjoyer, then you will not try to jump over something and try to snatch things from others. If you understand that you are not the controller, Krishna is controller. If Krishna is controller, then what does that mean? That means you are not you are not in full control of everything. That means the other person is being, whatever things are going on around me, that is not in my control, that is in control of Krishna. So then that's why I should not just become intolerant or something. I should not get disturbed. And third thing is Krishna is my best friend. So it is there to worry. If there is hurry, why there worry? Uh, So like that. So this is what the peace formula is. So thus we are ending this chapter 5. We'll go to quickly. We'll go to chapter number 6. Chapter number 6 now talks about Dhyana Yoga. How we are going to Dhyana Yoga? The end of chapter 5 talks about the peace formula, that Krishna is the supreme controller. He is the supreme enjoyer. He is our best friend. So what we should do? We should meditate upon him so that we can um, we can make a good relationship, or we can establish our forgotten relationship with Krishna. तो इस तरह से ध्यान योग का अब यहाँ पर प्रक्रिया शुरू होगी। और ये ध्यान योग बहुत ही विशेष है, क्योंकि हम सभी अपने जीवन में ध्यान, ना कंसंट्रेशन, ना एकाग्रता ये भूलना चाहते हैं। एवरीबडी tries to improve his concentration. How it is possible? Is it possible or not? We'll see in this chapter. So there are people who give different types of meditation techniques. The actual technique is Ashtanga Yoga. What does that Ashtanga Yoga means? Ashtanga Yoga means there are eightfold yoga system: Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyana, and Samadhi. I don't know what you people have read in that Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. of college days, but that means following yam means whatever is prescribed in scriptures that we should follow. Niyam means whatever is not prescribed that we should avoid. Then yam niyam asan, that is, there are some postures we should follow so that our body gets uh, straight, our body gets habituated of performing any sadhana. Then comes the pranayam, that is breathing exercises, and not only breathing exercises, but by doing so, trying to um, trying to concentrate on the thoughts. So trying to hold the so that is the beginning. That's how we can control our mind. Then comes the pratyahar. The pratyahar means uh, acting whenever required, and when it is not required, we should avoid. It is pratyahar. Then comes dharana. Dharana means to hold the thought, and from dharana comes the dhyana. Actually, we don't know the meaning of dhyana. Dhyana means to hold the thought for longer time. When you hold the thought, that is called dharana. हम धारण करते हैं. लेकिन अगर हम उस विचार को ज्यादा समय तक ध्यान करते हैं, उसको ध्यान कहते हैं. इसका उदाहरण दिया गया है कि यदि लगभग आप 12 सेकंड तक आप ध्यान करते हैं एक विचार को, उसको ध्यान कहते हैं. अगर आप 12 गुना 12, 12 into 12, that becomes 144 seconds. If you hold the thought for that much time, that is called ध्यान. That means 2.5 मिनट तक आपको एक ही विचार पर रहना, उसे ध्यान कहते हैं. ध्यान का मतलब ये नहीं कि आंख बंद किया और थोड़ा देर हमने कोशिश किया आंख बंद करने का, उसके बाद फिर हो गया, नहीं. तो ये धारणा नहीं, ये ध्यान नहीं. ध्यान के बाद देन नेक्स्ट इज samadhi. Samadhi is even bigger thing. Samadhi means 12 into 12 into 12, that is 1728 seconds, almost 30 minutes. आधे घंटे तक एक ही विचार पे रहना कितना कठिन होगा. और इस बीच में व्यक्ति समाधि मतलब वो उस ध्यान में ऐसा खो गया है कि उसको अभी न भूख न प्यास न नींद कुछ नहीं लगता. जो योगी होते हैं वो कम से कम 5 दिन 6 दिन 7 दिन 10 दिन, कई कई तो महीने भर समाधि में चले जाते. So by doing so, they are getting the energy for the body, but they are not eating anything. They are not sleeping. They are not passing urine, stool, nothing. They are sitting at one place and doing samadhi, and they are getting all energy. So what we are reading here is actually Bhagavad Gita is talking about a real sannyasi and yogi. Who is a real sannyasi and yogi? Detached action is same as renunciation. Means if you want to be renunciant, the best thing what Krishna is suggesting you that you renounce from the fruits of the action. You should act according to that. You should perform Nishkam Karma Yoga. One should cultivate what? One should cultivate detachment and also practice Ashtanga Yoga that gradually purifies the heart of fruits and fruitive desires. Now the topic is coming. Mind is both friend and enemy. When we try to do such kind of dhyana, when you try to meditate, the subject where we are applying this thing is the mind, and mind is both our friend and enemy. Okay, we'll go to next. Chapter 6, verse number 6. Bhagavad Gita. It has been said. Okay, it has been said. It will be there in the next slide. Uncontrolled mind, what it can do to you? It can do many things to you. But हाँ, आप इसमें से क्या क्या चाहते हैं? और I hope that you don't want anything. Lack of confidence, loss of trust, depression, stress, hypertension, damage to oneself, family, and society, weakened determination, dangerous diseases, madness. ये सारी की सारी चीजें हम नहीं चाहते. But then this is what the uncontrolled mind brings to us. Can you imagine a person committing suicide? How much disturbed his mind would be? How much disturbed his mind would be? लोग जीने का सोचते हैं, यहाँ लोग फांसी लाके मर जाते हैं. How difficult it is, and how uncontrolled mind can make you fool. So this is what the disturbed senses, fickle mind, and lusty intelligence that start doing all this drama. What happens next? Chapter 6, verse number 6, it is said, Bandhuratmat manustasya yenatmevat manajita अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तितात्म शत्रु। आगे चलिए, आगे स्लाइड बढ़ाइए। नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में बताया गया रिजल्ट ऑफ एक्शन यू कैन कंट्रोल माइंड। यस, वी ऑलरेडी डिस्कस दिस थिंग्स। देयर आर डिफरेंट प्रॉब्लम्स यू विल बी फेसिंग। अल्टीमेटली your anger and lust that will bring to greed, and then finally will become disturbed in some tension, and then will become suicide and different crimes. Next, how the mechanism mind works. The intelligence, mind, and senses. We already discussed that the soul is greater than intelligence. Intelligence is greater than mind. Mind is greater than senses. The senses are greater than the body itself. The ये जो जड़ शरीर है इससे श्रेष्ठ. What is the function of intelligence? It is the decision making. The intelligence has to make the decision as per the uh, thoughts and experiences which are there in the mind. Mind is storehouses of thoughts, unfulfilled desires, previous experiences. So mind gives the input and intelligence has to decide. Intelligence has to work like CPU, central processing unit, and the mind has to act like input device. The senses are other five input devices which give the data to the mind. The mind then gives the data to intelligence. The intelligence has to process the data and then gives the information. But then what happens? The mind that this corrupted mind cheats. Corrupted mind makes the decision intelligence also corrupted, and because of that, the intelligence cannot function properly. So the mind starts behaving then crookedly, and mind cheats intelligence, and thus intelligence try to cheat the whole this system. Okay, next, chariot of the body, very famous example. Five senses are there, five horses. Um, Lord Krishna, this mind is the rope. Then intelligence is the chariot driver. The chariot driver has to control the mind, the rope. If the chariot driver will not hold the chariot driver will not hold the ropes, then what will happen? Is all the five horses will run in different action. So if you want to make progress, if you want to make success, your all these five horses, the five senses should align towards one goal, towards one path. Otherwise, the chariot will get broken after some time. The chariot is the body. If you want to function properly in this body also, if you want to remain happy, although we are not the body, we are a spirit soul, still you have to have this controlled mind. Okay, next. So mind is friend and enemy. Bandhu Atma safe. If you control the mind, mind is your friend. If you do not control the mind is your best enemy, worst enemy. 6.17. Now, what is the practicing stage in Ashtanga Yoga? Yuktahara viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu yukta swapnavabodhasya yoga bhavati. What is recommended in Ashtanga Yoga? Ashtanga Yoga, there are eightfold I said just now. But how should be your lifestyle? Your lifestyle should be he who is regulated in his habits of eating. And what you should eat, that also we'll discuss in some time, maybe in tomorrow's or day after tomorrow's class. How should be your eating habit? How should be your sleeping? Your sleeping should not be like too much or too less. Eating should not be too much or too less. Recreation also should be balanced. If everything is balanced for a person, eating, sleeping, recreation, work, then he can mitigate all material pains by practicing yoga system. Yoga system is very nice, this Ashtanga yoga, but then uh, we need to practice it. We need to have balance. Okay, next. 6.26 attaining perfection in Ashtanga Yoga, realization in Super Soul. हाँ, यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चंचलम स्थिरम ततोस्ततो नियमम स्थाय आत्मान्यम एवं वशम्येत. कई बार ऐसा होता है कि हमारा मन इतना चंचल है कि जो भी कार्य हम करते हैं उस कार्य में हमारा मन नहीं लगता, बल्कि दूसरी कार्य में हमारा ज्यादा मन लगता है. अगर हम पढ़ने के लिए बैठते हैं तो खेलने का मन करता है, खेलने के लिए बैठते हैं तो पढ़ने का मन करता है, घूमने जाते हैं तो कॉलेज जाने का, आज हमने कॉलेज मिस किया ऐसा लगता है. और अगर हम कॉलेज जाते हैं तो फिर हमको बाहर जाना था, दोस्तों के साथ घूमना था, बाकी दोस्त लोग बंक मार के गए हैं, तो ये सब चीजें थी सकती। जो करते हैं उसमें कभी भी हमारा मन हमारे साथ ज्यादा देर नहीं रहता। That's what Krishna says. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, mind is flickering and unsteady in nature. So what we should do in such kind of cases? One must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. हमें वापस मन को खींच कर लाना चाहिए, फिर से हमको लगाना चाहिए, बार बार खींचो उसको, लाओ लगाओ। तो इस तरह से अगर हम करेंगे तब जाकर अगर हम इस प्रकार से चीजें करते रहेंगे अ, तब जाकर हम लोग इसमें अपने मन को हम इस वश में कर सकते हैं। तो इस प्रकार से अगर हम देखें कि अम, कैसे हम मन को कंट्रोल करें, इस तरह से बार बार मन को खींच खींच कर लाएं और उसको हम अपने फोकस में, अपने कार्य, अपने जो भी हम कार्य कर रहे हैं उसमें लगाएं। तो दैट्स हाउ यू कंट्रोल द माइंड। माइंड इज लाइक अ स्मॉल किड, छोटा बच्चा है ना, डायलॉग नहीं बोल रहा हूँ, छोटा बच्चा है। छोटे बच्चे क्या होते हैं कि वो बार बार भागते रहते हैं, कोई भी काम नहीं करते। सो दे व्हाट वी डू, व्हाट द पेरेंट्स डू, उनको वापस खींच कर लाते हैं और फिर उनको बैठाते हैं। फिर बच्चा वहां से निकल के बाहर भाग जाता है, फिर उसको बाहर से पकड़ के लाते हैं, फिर अंदर बैठाते हैं, नहीं नहीं बेटा बाहर खतरा है, बाहर में जाओ। बच्चा फिर बाहर जाने की कोशिश करता है, उसको फिर खींच कर लाते हैं। तो अगेन एंड अगेन यू हैव टू ब्रिंग दैट माइंड एंड कंट्रोल एंड अंडर द कंट्रोल ऑफ द सेल्फ। नेक्स्ट, या सो व्हाट शुड वी डू? अर्जुन इज गिविंग हिज, वो क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा है, अर्जुन बोल रहा है कि प्रभु मेरा एक डाउट है। क्या डाउट है? दैट अर्जुन इज कंसर्न इज अष्टांग योगा इज इम्प्रैक्टिकल ड्यू टू फिकल माइंड। आपने अभी तक अष्टांग योग के बारे में बताया। कृष्णा गेव द डिफरेंट टेक्निक, अष्टांग योग टेक्निक, दैट आपको दोनों भौहों के बीच में, you should meditate in between these two eyebrows, and then you should breathe slowly, you should do pranayam, then asana and all. He explains the ashtanga yoga. So after listening ashtanga yoga जिसमें मन को हमको कंट्रोल करना है, अर्जुन says that चंचलम ही मनः कृष्ण प्रमाथि बलवदृढ़ तस्याहम निग्रहम मन्ये वायुरिव सुदुष्करम। तो mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong. Oh Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind. Actually, Arjuna has so much power, so much potency that he could control the wind. वायु की दिशा को वो अपने नियंत्रण में कर सकता था, इतना ज्यादा उसके पास ऐसे से दिव्यास्त्र थे। पर अर्जुन कहता है कि प्रभु मैं वायु की दिशा को कंट्रोल कर सकता हूँ लेकिन मन को नहीं कंट्रोल कर सकता। अब आप सोचिए कि ऐसा व्यक्ति अगर कह रहा है जो वायु की दिशा को कंट्रोल कर सकता है, हमारे बस में तो वो भी नहीं है। हम तो किसी तरह से कोई भी वायु को धीरे चले फास्ट चले हम कंट्रोल नहीं कर सकते। तो हमारे जैसे लोग को हम कैसे मन को कंट्रोल करें? हमारे लिए पॉसिबल नहीं। तो दैट पर्सन लाइक अर्जुन वो सो मच फोकस्ड। हमने बचपन में उसकी कहानी पढ़ी है कि कैसे वो चिड़िया के आंख में निशाना लगाता है। लेकिन हम लोग ऐसे, हमारे पास कोई भी हमारा कोई फोकस है नहीं, हमारा कंसंट्रेशन है नहीं, और हम कैसे माइंड को कंट्रोल करें? इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट। व्हाट कृष्णा सेज नेक्स्ट वर्स, सो कृष्णा सेज दैट यस इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कंट्रोल बट देन बाय प्रैक्टिस मेक्स अ मैन परफेक्ट। अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च योगी। You can see this verse that yes, the mind is very difficult to control. I agree. बट क्या है कि आप अगर अभ्यास करते रहेंगे, अभ्यास किसका करना है? मन को बार बार खींच कर वापस लाने का। तो आप जो अगर अभ्यास करते रहेंगे, करत करत अभ्यास की जड़ मिट्टी हो सुजान। डिसाइड दैट कि बार बार अगर अभ्यास आप करते रहोगे तो आप उसको आप मन को कंट्रोल कर सकते हैं। तो दैट्स हाउ वी हैव टू ट्राई। नेक्स्ट, नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, नेक्स्ट स्लाइड। व्हाट हैपेंस टू डेस्टिनेशन ऑफ एन अनसक्सेसफुल योगी? अगर कोई योगी ऐसा कुछ करते करते अगर सफलता नहीं होता तो क्या होता है? Some an unsuccessful yogi who falls after a short practice प्राप्य पुण्यम कृता लोकान शित्वा शाश्वती समः शुचिनाम स्मृताम गेहे योगो भ्रष्टभिजायते। सो उनका जन्म एक अच्छे परिवार में था, शुचिनाम श्रीमताम गेहे, अच्छे ब्राह्मण परिवार में, एक पुण्यात्मा के परिवार में, या किसी धनी व्यक्ति के परिवार में। तो ऐसे जगह पर उसका जन्म होता है ताकि वो अपना आगे का जो जितना हद तक उसने योग कंप्लीट किया है उसके आगे का वो योग पूरा कर सके। Some yogi, even though perfected their practice by fate, develop a desire to enjoy and accept with enjoyment. लाइक यहाँ पे जो उदाहरण है ये सौबरी मुनि का है। सौबरी मुनि पानी के भीतर में तपस्या कर रहे थे। आप सोचिए, पानी के भीतर में कोई व्यक्ति रहकर तपस्या कर रहा था ताकि वो डिस्टर्ब ना हो, लेकिन पानी के भीतर भी उनका मन डिस्टर्ब हो गया और फिर वो भ्रमित हो गए, अपनी तपस्या छोड़ बैठे। बाद में उस तपस्या को उनको फिर रियलाइज हुआ और उन्होंने फिर अपने जीवन को, है ना, फिर वो भक्ति में, अपने योग में बाद में फिर जुड़े। तो अगर कोई योग करते करते अगर असफल भी हो जाता है कुछ समय बाद, तो उसको स्वर्गलोक की प्राप्ति होती है, उसने जो भी पुण्य किया उसके माध्यम से। परंतु उसके बाद वापस आकर वो किसी धनाढ्य परिवार में या किसी अच्छे कुल में जन्म लेकर वो फिर पुनः अपने योग को आगे बढ़ा। नेक्स्ट। लेकिन इसके साथ में अगर बताया गया है, भगवान स्वयं कहते हैं इस अध्याय के लास्ट में कि ध्यान योग तो ठीक है, परंतु योगी नाम अपनी सर्वेशम मद्गतेन अंतरात्मा, जितने भी योगी हैं इन सब में से जो योगी सदैव मुझे सदैव अपने अंतरात्मा में रखकर मुझे चिंतन करता है, श्रद्धावान भजते यो माम चिन्मय युक्त तमो में, जो मुझे श्रद्धा भाव से मेरा भजन करता है, मैं उसका सबसे वो मुझे सबसे प्रिय है। And of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and reads and renders transcendental loving service to me, is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. कृष्ण अपना मत दे रहे हैं, कह रहे हैं कि वो सबसे उच्चतम योगी होता है जो सदैव मेरी भक्ति में लीन होता है, जो सदैव मुझ पर मुझसे एकाद मुझे सदैव अपने हृदय में विराजमान करके श्रद्धा भाव से मेरा भजन करता है, श्रद्धावान भजते ये। तो इसीलिए ध्यान योग के विषय में भगवान बता रहे हैं, लेकिन खुद भी भगवान संतुष्ट नहीं है कि ये जो ध्यान योग है ये हाईएस्ट है। इसीलिए वो आखिरी में ये बात कह देते हैं कि भक्ति करने वाला सर्वश्रेष्ठ है। और इसी के साथ छठवां अध्याय यहाँ पर पूरा होता है और यहाँ से 7वीं से लेकर 12वें अध्याय तक पूरे 6 अध्याय में भगवान भक्ति की विशेष व्याख्या करते हैं। तो अब हम उसको आगे कल डिस्कस करेंगे। आज किसी का कोई और यहाँ पर कुछ प्रश्न हो तो आप बता सकते हैं। हरे कृष्ण। एनी क्वेश्चन? हाउ फेथ कम्स? श्रद्धा कैसे उत्पन्न होती है? श्रद्धा उत्पन्न होती है जब हम लोग, देखिए पहले तो बेसिक एक श्रद्धा होती है हम सब में, स्मॉल लिटिल फेथ इज देयर इन विथ एवरीवन, दैट्स व्हाई वी आर लिसनिंग और वी आर ट्राइंग टू रीड भगवद गीता, फर्स्ट थिंग। और भी लोगों में थोड़ी बहुत श्रद्धा तो होती है, दैट्स व्हाई दे गो टू टेंपल, दे ऑफर प्रेयर्स टू द लॉर्ड। So with that Shraddha, what we should do when we perform any activity which pleases Krishna or for worship of the Lord, so by that we start doing more and more bhajan kriya or more activities of worshipping the Lord, which in which enables us, which gives us more faith. श्रद्धा जब रहती है तब आप भगवान की भक्ति करने का या भगवान से जुड़ने का प्रयास करते हैं, और जैसे जैसे आप भगवान से जुड़ते हैं आप में श्रद्धा और बढ़ती है। और ये जो श्रद्धा है, ये श्रद्धा हम अ, जब हम भगवान के भक्तों के साथ में बैठकर चर्चा करते हैं भगवान के बारे में, तो वो श्रद्धा और ज्यादा बढ़ती जाती है। सो व्हेन यू डिस्कस, इट्स वेरी सिंपल, व्हेन यू डिस्कस अबाउट सम पर्सन, किसी व्यक्ति के बारे में आप बात करते हैं, जैसे जैसे आप किसी के बारे में बात करते हैं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल अ लीडर, किसी लीडर के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, कोई कोई नेता है, उसके अच्छे गुणों के बारे में बात करते हैं, तो हम उसके बारे में धीरे धीरे और अप्रिसिएशन गेन करने लगते हैं. द मोर you talk good points about that person, the more appreciation you get. Similarly, when you sit with the devotees of the Lord, then you talk about Krishna, you talk about Lord Krishna, you talk about the Supreme Lord. So then automatically the Shraddha becomes more and more. तो श्रद्धा बढ़ाने के लिए हमको भक्तों का संग करना चाहिए, भगवान के विषय में सुनना चाहिए, भगवान के विषय में पढ़ना चाहिए, वो एक्टिविटीज जो भगवान हमें सजेस्ट कर रहे हैं और भगवत में आगे जो आपको सजेस्ट होने जिससे हमारी श्रद्धा और बढ़ती जाएगी. ओके. Next question, how to overcome from thought that leads to our own destruction. Very nice question. So how to overcome? See, the mind is there, is always there to destroy us because mind is our greatest enemy. How should we overcome? So we should always read from the scriptures. We should, and then we should try to follow from. We should try to have this positive energy every day. You should do some meditation, and you should gain some positive energy from these wonderful books like Bhagavad Gita. And we should try to associate with always good people, the people those who have good mindset, those who are spiritually minded. If we associate with them, then we always be surcharged with the positive energy. With positive energy, whenever mind will give you this the bad ideas or the destructive thoughts, so with positive energy you get that power to counteract with them. Sometimes it may happen that you may not counteract. It's okay. But at least out of 10, you could. Earlier, what used to happen? Out of 10, we used to get flattered. We used to get defeated by mind. Now, at least 2, 3, 4, 5 times at least we'll defeat the mind. That is the simple victory is there. So, small victory will lead us to bigger success. So that's how we have to try to slowly, we have to try to curb the mind. And we should always bring the mind which is going away from our path, from our focused path. We should always bring the mind towards whatever goal we are trying to achieve. So similarly, always surround yourself with positive vibration, with positive thoughts, with positive people, with positive books, with positive this meditation techniques as we do chanting of holy name. So if you do all such things, so then uh, you will get overcome from such kind of thoughts. Does Dhyan Yoga is suitable for suitable for today's time? Dhyan Yoga is difficult. Yes, Dhyan Yoga is very difficult, and as Arjuna is also saying, it was difficult in Dwapar Yuga time. What to talk about now Kali Yuga? Now the mind is more restless. Now there are now you see this person, this instrument. This instrument is always there with us. This mobile, and mobile is always there to distract us. So Dhyan Yoga becomes very difficult because earlier days when a yogi is sitting and meditating, so then some apsaras used to come. Apsaras are coming, or the Gandharvas are coming. They are dancing and they are disturbing. Nowadays, no need to invite any apsara or Gandharva. You are sitting trying to do meditate, and then your mobile will ring. Some notification, कुछ notification आ गया WhatsApp का, Instagram का, immediately your mind goes there. अरे किसका मैसेज था, किसने मेरा कौन सा फोटो लाइक किया, व्हाट कमेंट उसने किया. सो हम इसमें ज़्यादा डिस्टर्ब जाते हैं. सो ध्यान योगा इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट. दैट्स व्हाई कृष्णा इज सजेस्टिंग नाउ दैट those who perform bhakti are greatest. And how bhakti is easy, how bhakti is more applicable in this current age, we'll discuss from 7th to 12th chapters. Okay. Next question, sir, how we avoid bad friends or people who disturb us in doing Dhyana Yoga and push in the bad habits? It's very easy. You start making your habits positive. Like you wake up early in the morning, you wake up at 5 o'clock. आपके सारे दोस्त सोते रहेंगे. Your all friends will be sleeping. They'll wake up at 8 o'clock. So by the time they'll wake up, you can take bath, or you can do your workout, and you can take bath. You can do some meditation. You can chant holy name of the Lord. You can read some books, and you can also prepare for your 45 minutes or 1 hour, you can do college study also. After that, when they wake up at 8 o'clock, so by that time you are already ready. You are surcharged yourself with the positive energy. Now you can speak with them कि भाई मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है. And if they ask for something, some time pass things, then you can say that तुम लोग करो मैं आता हूँ. Or you do, you people enjoy. I'm just coming. I have some work. कई बार शाम को अब आप चूंकि 5 बजे उठोगे तो आपको जल्दी सोना पड़ेगा. यू हैव टू स्लीप एट 10:30 11 o'clock. तो स्लीप अर्ली, वेक अप अर्ली. क्या होता है कि जो फालतू चीजें होती है सब रात में ही होती है. रॉन्ग हैबिट्स, गलत चीजें दोस्तों के साथ में जो हम गलत काम करते हैं, स्पेशली हॉस्टल्स में या फिर पीजीज वगैरह में, so that happens in the dead night only. People start watching different things, bad things. They discuss bad things. So these all things happen in the night. But if you sleep early at 10:30, nobody will disturb you. अरे सो गया भाई जल्दी, बहुत सीधा हो गया आजकल, बहुत बदल गया है, बाबा बन गया. People will say all these things, but then you are doing that for your betterment. So if you do such things slowly, your bad friends either they will run away from you. अरे यार इसके साथ अभी हमको नहीं करना है. Uh, After seeing me doing good, they force me to do that which is not good for me. Yes, बिकॉज दे आर बैड पीपल. वो क्या सोचते हैं कि हम तो गलत हैं, हम तो बुरे हैं ही, लेकिन हम अकेले बुरे नहीं रहेंगे, हम पूरी दुनिया को बुरा बनाएंगे. एवरीबडी विल बिकम लाइक अस, तभी मजा आएगा. सो दे विल स्मोक एंड दे विल लेट यू टू स्मोक, फोर्स करेंगे. सो वी शुड बी वेरी फ्रैंक, वी शुड बी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड इन सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग दैट भाई दोस्त तो जो भी होगा, तो दोस्त है तो दोस्त की जैसे रहा. The friend is like he should be helping. It's not like a friend should degrade ourselves. तो आज से हमारी दोस्ती खत्म. भाई तू अपने रास्ते, हम अपने रास्ते. यस ठीक है, हम अच्छा दोस्त था, लेकिन जो मुझे पसंद नहीं है वो भी तू अगर मुझसे जबरदस्ती कराएगा तो फिर काय का दोस्त. A friend should be like he should be helping us. It's not like he should be just uh, deviating you from any kind of path. आप पढ़ाई कर रहे हो और आपको पढ़ाई से डिस्टर्ब करेगा, काय का दोस्त. आप अपने दोस्त के लिए तो कॉलेज आए नहीं. You have come here NIT Raipur, you are studying because you worked hard during your school time. आपके पेरेंट्स आपसे बहुत सारी उम्मीदें रखते हैं कि हमारा बेटा वहाँ पर पढ़ रहा है, अच्छी जगह पढ़ रहा है. Your relatives think that हमारा रिलेटिव का एक लड़का है, एक लड़की है, they are reading in a very nice college and then after some time they'll be getting good job and all. तो उनकी बहुत सारी एक्सपेक्टेशन है, और वो सारी एक्सपेक्टेशन आप यहाँ पे हॉस्टल्स में ये दोस्तों के चक्कर में यहाँ पे फालतू गंवाना, सो दैट शुड बी अवॉइडेड. इतना तो बुद्धि हमें लगाना चाहिए भाई. 20-22 साल के हैं तो इतने तो बच्चे तो है नहीं कि कोई कुछ भी करा दे. सो वी शुड बी वेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड कि नहीं करना है मुझे. ओके, सो नेक्स्ट, यू शुड बी वेल clear when to say no. Today's many people pretending like they are yogis. Should we trust on them, and how rectify a real yogi? We don't need to go on searching who is real yogi and not. We should read scriptures, and if someone talks according to scriptures, अगर कोई शास्त्र के आधार पे बात करता है तो हमको समझ में आना चाहिए कि हाँ ये सही बात कर रहा है. एंड देन ही इज ऑल्सो फॉलोइंग. वी हैव टू ऑल्सो सी दैट हाउ ही इज प्रैक्टिसिंग इन हिज डेली लाइफ. जैसे कोई महान योगी बन के बैठा है, पर उसके अपने जीवन में वो कोई वो कार्य नहीं करता जो खुद बोलता रहता है. सिर्फ बोलता है बट करता नहीं है, तो काहे का योगी है. कोई गुरु बनकर बैठा है, बट देन दैट गुरु इज हिमसेल्फ इज नॉट परफॉर्मिंग एनी काइंड ऑफ एक्टिविटी विच इज ही इंस्ट्रक्ट्स हिज डिसाइपल्स टू डू. खुद भगवान का नाम नहीं लेता, दूसरे को क्या भगवान से जोड़ेगा. खुद स्पिरिचुअलिटी में कुछ कर नहीं रहा है, हाउ हाउ ही विल कनेक्ट अदर्स टू बिकम स्पिरिचुअल. कैन यू अंडरस्टैंड. सो इट्स नॉट लाइक जस्ट कुछ लोग इंटरनेट में फेमस होने के लिए अच्छी अच्छी बातें करते हैं, बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं, बट देन व्हाट्स द यूज ऑफ सच काइंड ऑफ स्टेटमेंट. You go on a bigger platform and then you perform something, you speak something, and then you become very famous. What is the use of becoming such famous thing? So it's like gaining publicity. You are not yogi now. Yogi ऐसा होता ही नहीं है. Yogi is not attached to any kind of name and fame. तो जो लोग अपने आप को इस तरह की चीजों में लगा के रखेंगे, their personal application is zero. So such persons are actually not real yogi. सो वी आर नॉट गोइंग आफ्टर एवरीवन. हमको अपना जीवन देखना है. आप अपना भगवदगीता पढ़िए, शास्त्र पढ़िए, उसके अकॉर्डिंग टू आप अपना लाइफ बिताना शुरू कीजिए. And those who are helping you to live that kind of life, they are okay. Those who are not helping, those who are doing something else and they are trying to cheat, तो उनसे बच के रहिए. उनको बोल दीजिए हरे कृष्ण, अपने को नहीं चाहिए. Okay. So actually, I don't. We don't have much time, so that's why I'm just completing the answer within very short point. These questions are very. These questions need elaborate discussions. I hope I could make clear a little bit. Okay. So should we stop now? We started a little late. That's why I went till 12:50. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. हरे कृष्ण.